Niagara Falls, breathtaking any time of year, an epic way to end a 2-month road trip across Canada and the US. On this adventure, go on a complete tour of both the Canadian and American sides of Niagara Falls as we return to Canada to bring this trip full circle and end it with a bang. What an epic way to end an incredible summer-long trip. Time for the final stop on this trip. Hard to believe it's pretty much over now. It's been a heck of a trip. Well, let's finish with a bang. Well, we've made it here to Goat Island, the parking lot here. First thing you notice is you can probably hear the falls behind me, and because they're literally right on the other side of those trees there. And you can actually see the mist from the falls rising up above the trees. We will be going to check that out, but first we're going to bring this trip full circle and head over to Canada. So you cross the border via the Rainbow Bridge on foot, and it's about a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute walk from the main parking lot here at Goat Island. Sneak preview of what we're gonna get. Those are just rapids, those aren't actually the falls, but pretty spectacular already. So to reach Canada by foot, just look for these signs in the main parking lot by the visitor center and just follow them. And then when you get to these turnstile gates here, this is as far as you can go without a passport. If you go through those turnstile gates, even if you don't make entry to Canada, you still have to pass through US Customs on the way back. But we're going all the way to Canada, so let's go. And it's about a 5-minute walk across the bridge over to Canada. And make sure you stop in the middle of the bridge to take in some of the best views of the falls that are out there. And as I'm sure you probably know, the best views of the falls are from the Canadian side, which is one of the reasons why we're going back to Canada. I don't know if you can see it, I'll bend down here, but this right here is the actual international border. We've got the United States here and Canada there. Alright, we're gonna go clear Canadian customs now, and we'll see you on the other side. And again, once you get on the Canadian side here, just keep following the signs to Canada. Well, that was the easiest entry I've had in a while, and officially brings the trip full circle. Welcome back to Canada. And yeah, no kidding, the views on the Canadian side are certainly way better than the views on the American side. So after you leave the Canada Border Agency, you can see the falls from where you pop out of the building there, and just walk south towards the falls, and you have views like this the entire way down. Let's continue on before it gets too busy here. So our mission is to walk down there to Horseshoe Falls and get some shots down there. this area here is normally in the summertime packed full of people, but I think we're here late enough that a lot of the kiddos are back in school and people have gone back to work and summer vacations are over. Now, you're definitely getting the heaviest mist from the falls right here, but nothing you can't handle. Just get a little damp, that's all. And what I'm hoping here is you can get far enough up here so you're out of the directly downwind from the falls, but also still in front of them so you can get some good pictures, but we'll see. What an incredible way to end an epic summer-long cross-country trip. Alright, time to start working the way back to the border now. And we'll go check out the US side. At least going this way, the mist is all on our back, so we're not walking straight into it. And it's about a 1.5 mile walk to get from the far end on the Canada side here back around to where I parked the truck. So that should take, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes to walk, plus however long it takes to cross the border. So if you're looking for good views, I think the Canada side is definitely the one to come to. But we're gonna go across the border back into the States and go check out the American side now. And the crowds are definitely starting to build here. And the US side should be on the upwind side too, so hopefully we don't have to deal with spray too much. And so to cross from Canada back into the US, you just follow the same footpath you did crossing the other direction, except this time follow the signs to the US instead of the signs to Canada. And there is a $1 toll crossing on foot from Canada to the US, payable in either American or Canadian currency. You will need either quarters or loonies, the $1 Canadian coin. And they have machines there to get coins if you don't have any. Well, that is all she wrote for Canada, at least this trip. And now we'll see you back in the States. That AC feels nice. And just like that, we are back on the Rainbow Bridge, heading for the US. And it is just as windy up on the bridge here as it was when we crossed into Canada this morning. So, yeah, hold on to your hats. The breeze feels mighty nice though. Alright, let's get out of this wind. Well, we're out of the worst of the wind now, and we're now over on the US side, and it's time to pass through US customs, so I'm going to put the cameras away and we'll see you on the other side. So we are through US customs. That literally took about 30 seconds, and now we're going to go check out the American side of the falls. Now we get to navigate this maze of trails on the New York side back down to the river. Falls viewing. I think that's what we want. Well, part of the issue that you have on the US side, much like we did up at Lake Superior, is you got all these trees here blocking your view of the river. But there are places you can stop and look, but the Canadian side definitely has much better viewing. One thing the US side does get good at is it does get you up close and personal with the falls. Because on the Canadian side, you can only do that at Horseshoe Falls. So yeah, that's American Falls. Now we're gonna go wander on back to Goat Island, see if we can get a view of Horseshoe Falls from the US side before we hit the road on out of here. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to getting in some air conditioning because it's getting hot out here. Which, I must say, I'll take this weather over the weather here in late December any day of the week. And here is our final stop, both here at Niagara Falls and of this trip, the American side of Horseshoe Falls. Probably about an hour and a half ago, we were standing right over there. What a way to wrap it all up. And now all we got is just an 8-hour drive home. So yeah, if you're coming to Niagara Falls, my best advice to you, come during the week and get here early in the morning. Because when I got here first, right when they opened up this morning, it was absolutely deserted, and this parking lot's completely full now. You know, looking back on this trip now, it was just really a truly incredible adventure. You know, obviously Banff and Jasper were the big prizes on this trip, and they were definitely highlights, but the one that really came in under the radar was a bit of a surprise, just how stunningly beautiful it was the North Cascades National Park in far northern Washington. You know, because that's got all this very similar beauty to what Banff and Jasper have, but it's still in the US, so if you don't want to travel to Canada, you can see it in the US. But on our next trip, we got a little something fun planned for you. We are actually heading to Africa to see the largest mammal migration in the world, where we'll be spending 2 weeks inside Kasanka National Park in Zambia, watching the great fruit bat migration. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I think we're gonna give our final sign-off for this great adventure across Canada and the US, and we'll see you in Zambia.
Gotta get it right now. Yeah, push all the limits with you right now. Gotta get it right now. Yeah, push all the limits.